Hello Canadian teen book lovers! Welcome to week 8 of my marathon of books. I started this week out in Prince Edward Island and I ended it in New Brunswick. So that was very exciting. Lots of books to get through today. I'd like to start with Sharon McKay's War Brothers. Okay, I thought I loved Thunder over Kandahar, and I did, because of the whole learning about girls in foreign countries and the challenges they face, but then I read War Brothers and I decided this is so far definitely my favorite Sharon McKay book. I just loved it. It was about these kids, these boys that are captured from the school that they're going to and forced to become child soldiers, and they end up being very lucky because they end up escaping, but it's touch and go, and not everyone survives as unscathed as some of them do. And so not only is it about being abducted and living as a child soldier and then escaping, but it's also about how they try to go back to their regular lives afterwards, after this horrible thing has happened. And it shows all the different reactions that the boys have to this situation and how they choose to go on with their life that can no longer be the same or what it was. Very, very powerful. Of course, being in PEI, I had to go and read the classic Anne of Green Gables because, well, if I didn't, that would just be wrong. But Megan Howe from the Canadian Children's Book Centre sent me 2 copies. This one is the first one published in Canada, the first edition published in Canada in about 1948. It's pretty plain. And then this one is the anniversary edition, 100 Years of Anne, which is pretty incredible. I love the story, even though I confess I know it mostly by Kevin Sullivan's movies as opposed to Montgomery's book itself, but it's a wonderful, heartwarming story about an orphan girl and how she finds a home with a brother and a sister who live together in Prince Edward Island. Anne, of course, is very feisty and spirited and very imaginative with a quick temper at times, but she's always one who learns from her mistakes. So I really enjoyed reading it again. I am a big fan of Lucy Maud Montgomery, and I love that she has a whole array of female characters that you can love, and everyone has a different favorite. But my favorite is Emily Birdstar, and so I picked the middle book from her trilogy, Emily Climbs, which is all about her experiences in high school and how she's trying to get her writing published, because Emily, at the core of her being, is a writer. She can't, it's almost like writing is her way of breathing. She can't go a day without being able to put something down on paper. So she's quite distressed when one of the conditions of her being able to go to high school is that she can't write fiction for all the time that she's in high school. So she's forced to only write nonfiction journal entries, but it really improves her writing and helps her out. I love it. Next up, I started in New Brunswick, and there are 2 books from New Brunswick that I'd like to talk about. This is the one I read yesterday. It's called The Town That Drowned, and it's all about this town in New Brunswick in the 60s that is about to be underwater when a new dam is constructed. Or, yes. And so it takes years to do, and the story actually occurs over about 3 years. So it moves kind of slow, but it's a very powerful story, and it's all about this one girl's point of view about the whole experience and her observations about the townspeople and how they're reacting, and also about at a skating party she goes through the ice and has a near drowning, and this near drowning triggers a vision where she's floating in a lake and she's saying hi to 4 specific people. So after this happens, she's mercilessly teased by people at school. She thinks that being labeled as weird is going to follow her around the rest of her life, and when her vision begins coming true, it totally freaks her out. But it just, the story moves so well, and it's pieced together in a way that makes sense. It's a beautiful story, and it's worth the read. Last up, we have 10,000 Truths by Susan White. Now, the story behind Susan White is that when I announced my marathon of books, a school in New Brunswick emailed me to say, please, please, please read The Year Mrs. Montague Cried. And I looked it up, and the main character was about 9 years old, and I thought, well, I can't really do that because they're supposed to be between 13 and 18. But I looked up Susan White and realized she had another book called 10,000 Truths. So I said, okay, I can't read this book, but I will put 10,000 Truths on my list and I will read that instead. But when I read about The Year Mrs. Montague Cried, I was so interested and intrigued by it that I went out and got it from the library like a couple of days later and read it. And it was incredible. Susan White is so good at exploring issues of grief and family and dealing with the unexpected. She has such heart in her books that it was great. And then when I read 10,000 Truths, which is her other book, same thing. It's about 13-year-old Rachel, who is in foster care because her mother and her brother have both died. And she's gotten into trouble over the years, so she's headed to Amelia Walton's house, which is considered to be her last chance. And it's the perfect place because Amelia also is dealing with issues of her own, and she understands how to help heal a wounded spirit. She's had many foster children over the years, and all of them form this bond with her because they truly connect and they understand what the other is going through. I love this book because of the untraditional family that is going on. It's very eclectic, but it works so well. And everyone truly cares about each other. And then when the crux of the novel comes and Rachel has to choose between staying with her blood relatives or with Amelia and the other foster children, it's very powerful to see what choice she actually makes. So I would definitely recommend this book. I'm not sure how well you can see, but today I'm wearing my Anne of Green Gables shirt, which is from litographs.com. It's LITOGRPHS.com. And it's a website that sells t-shirts with the book printed on the t-shirt. So you might be able to see my red braids and Shirley style. But if you look closely, which you can't, it's all words The entire book is printed on the t-shirt. I've been waiting weeks to wear it for you, and now here it is. My stats for today are books read 56 out of 365, pages read 12,383, kilometers traveled 1,238.3, and hours of reading 154 hours and 20 minutes. So it's pretty exciting. Oh, I also went to the Reading for the Love of It conference this week and got to meet some more authors and ran into Sylvia Gunnery, who let me crash her session to tell people about my marathon of books and hand out buttons. So I just want to say thank you again, Sylvia. It was great to meet you. And I can't wait to read your next book because it sounds so great. And yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you guys have a good week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.